On your Thursday episode of Locked On Raptors, the Raptors sure seem thirsty, huh?
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Thursday, June the 12th. I'm your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 11 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us, as always, in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. That's a busy place these days, talking finals, talking draft, talking trade scuttlebutt. Good times. Come hang out. We'd love to see you become part of our listener family where, yes, we fight sometimes, but it's all in good love and in vibes and happiness and all that stuff. You know, families fight. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And we're off and running here on an episode of the show where we will do some mailbag questions as promised, because we got a whole lot of good ones over the last couple days over in the Locked On Raptors Discord. I got through a bunch yesterday, got some leftovers, spill over here today. But we will, of course, talk about Kevin Durant, because that's what you do this time of year, I guess, when you are the Toronto Raptors and, you're in the mix for every star, even if maybe it's kind of a bad idea. Here to talk about all of it is our dear pal, Katie Heindl, of course, from Basketball Feelings, from, by now, from everywhere. Katie, how the hell's it going?
I'm good. I think the goggle marks I had when we attempted this podcast earlier this morning have vanished. So that's good.
A shame.
No.
Wait, you didn't want to have swim goggle eyes on the podcast?
You can kind of still see them. Yeah, they're still there. For you lucky viewers.
They are the luckiest, because we love a Katie podcast here in Locked On Raptors land. And we love to talk about trade rumors as well, because that's what you freaks keep on clicking on. So we're going to do it, even if maybe we don't really want to do it in our heart of hearts. But let's quickly get into the latest on the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, Katie. Look, there's all kinds of reporting out there about various teams that might be in on Kevin Durant. Shams Charania had some stuff yesterday. Jake Fisher over the weekend reported the Raptors were a presumed suitor. And then Marc Stein went on Sportsnet last night and basically said, yeah, the Raptors, they're a suitor. Will they win the sweepstakes? Who knows? But they're certainly trying to force themselves into the conversation. I thought that to be a pretty interesting wording by Marc Stein, who is as plugged in as anyone is around the NBA. And so, Katie, let's get into this Katie thing quickly. I don't think this is going to happen. I outlined that, the reasons why, on Monday's show, if you want to go back and check that out. It's a lot of moving parts. You have to move RJ Barrett plus Jakob Poeltl to make it happen money-wise. And then you don't have a center. And then so you got to go find a center. And you can't really get a rookie center in the draft, because if you have Kevin Durant, you're presumably trying to be good right away. And you're not really going to be good with a rookie center starting for you. And so it just feels like a whole big mess. And to me, Katie, it feels very desperate from a Raptors team that I don't think needs to be all that desperate right now. What say you?
Yeah, it also would be really confusing for me around the arena, because whenever now I hear people talk about KD, it's really quickly, It sounds like Katie. So I don't know that I'm for it for that reason.
We cannot have Kelly Dwyer ever coming to Toronto Raptors games either. Just can't have it. Can't happen.
Sorry, Kelly.
Confusing.
Sorry to my friend. Well, like, how realistic is this? It's not. I don't think it is very. It feels very strange. But it also, I guess I understand it for like a team who wants to appear in the mix, perhaps for other trades this summer, to kind of shoulder up with the other suitors for Durant. I also really personally like that this is just an expectation of Kevin Durant that every 2 to 3-ish seasons he's like, you know what, I'm not really enjoying this team anymore. For no real apparent reasons. No one really knows what happened in Phoenix. By all accounts, that team should have been great. Terrible team.
Well, Matt Ishbia happened, but Matt Ishbia doesn't seem to realize that Matt Ishbia happened. Seems to be
Matt Ishbia,
the word coming out.
As much as he's recently said, I'm going to be more involved in like actual day-to-day decisions of the team, doesn't play for the Phoenix Suns.
No,
so
he does not. Yeah.
Anyway,
Weird situation. Yeah.
it's a big swing. I get it. Like I get the ripples of like a Kawhi-esque thing where you're like, this would be definitely a short-term contract situation, but you're also kind of chopping off all the growth, to use a real plant metaphor. You're chopping off all the growth that you've achieved, right, in the last few seasons by who you would have to give up to get to Toronto. So to me, it's not only is it boneheaded and, to your point, quite desperate, but it doesn't really make any tactical sense.
Yeah, I am fully with you there. And look, you can draw. Marc Stein did the thing. He's like, Raptors fans know, what it's like to trade for a future Hall of Famer on an expiring contract.
That doesn't mean it's like the signature. That also, like, we don't want this to become the signature move,
No, right? Yeah, and like they're just not the same. That team in 2019 was on the heels of a lot of success with a lot of good players, and they got Kawhi Leonard for a pretty reasonable return, all things considered. And they knew it was going to be a one-year thing, most likely. And they were okay with that because they had spent the last 6 years trying to get over the hump and not doing it. And so this was kind of their last gasp move before probably an inevitable rebuild would have come after another playoff ouster at the hands of, I guess not LeBron, he wasn't in the East by then, but somebody else in the East. And so it's not the Kawhi thing at all. He's also 37 years old, is Kevin Durant, which is not the age that Kawhi Leonard was. I think Kawhi was 27 when the Raptors traded for him. So very different there. And look, I totally am on board if the Raptors are trying to pursue Giannis Antetokounmpo because he's one of the best players alive and he's been the apple of the front office's eye for over a decade. And those guys don't come around all that often. He's in the middle of his prime. Kevin Durant, while he's still excellent, is maybe kind of losing some of the impact stuff that made him an MVP candidate a decade ago. And he's in the final year of his contract. And yet he's 37 years old. And just the way the team would look, just based on the pure money of making a trade happen, it would be misshapen and strange. And you're going into the year looking like the Phoenix Suns with this incomplete roster, hoping Kevin Durant can save you. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, Katie. And so, yeah, I hope they don't go down this road, especially if the Suns, I think as the reporting was yesterday from Shams and Brian Windhorst, that they're looking for basically the return they gave up to get Durant in return for Durant. Good luck with that. We all love to be delusional on names sometimes. Yeah. It seems so far-fetched. And to me, again, desperate in a way that just, they don't need to be this desperate. If you can get Giannis, great. That's one thing. Otherwise, the team they have in this Eastern Conference, there's a lot to like here, Katie. There's something going on. Even if we don't know what that is yet, we haven't seen it play together. I think there is something to be like hopeful about with this team, which leads us to our first mailbag question, Katie. This one comes from Matt T in the Discord asking, let's say the Raptors do not land a big fish this offseason. Their only offseason moves are draft the 9th and 39th pick and bring back Chris Boucher, Matt's favorite little guy, Chris Boucher. He had to get him in there. Is this a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference as currently constructed? What say you to that, Katie?
Yeah, you forgot Brandon Ingram, the savior.
Yeah, well, exactly. Ingram's good. I don't know what you got is like the
the East is a mess.
It's so bad. James Dolan's taking over the coaching search for the Knicks now. They're screwed.
The East is in shambles. I actually realize it's even more shambly than I thought. I think it's amazing how Despo, if we're like Toronto's Despo, we have not sunk to the level of the Knicks, which are just like, please, can we talk to your coach? And everyone's like, no, get away from us, you creep. Which is very fun to watch. And also shout out Tibbs, very classy, I think, to take a page out in the Times and thank the city and thank the fans and probably the good part of the organization that he liked working with. This is what happens when you curse Charles Oakley. Yeah, this is what you get what you deserve. Anyway, given all that, and I think opportunism and where we saw the Raptors on their very good games, the good stretches of wins that they had and were able to kind of put together last season, I think a top 6 is very realistic. I mean, I'm swinging for 5. I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but sure. I think it could be because I don't know what's going on with the Bucks. I really don't. The Sixers might do something this summer, but they also really seem to have their hands tied. So
and they might get horribly injured again because that's kind of what their whole deal is, right? Yeah.
We're looking at the Magic kind of staging a comeback. I fully expect the Pistons to be up there. The Pacers, obviously. Yeah, the Knicks, but like TBD, whatever happens there, because I don't know, maybe people will walk. Stranger things have happened. So yeah, like given all of the turmoil, perfect opportunity for a team like Toronto.
100%. And like, even like you mentioned Orlando, I mean, like, are they going to get a guard? If they get a guard, great. If they don't, then there's still the Orlando Magic that we've seen the last couple of years where they can't score the basketball. And that's kind of important in the sport where scoring the basketball is important. I think top 6, if they don't land top 6, I don't necessarily think it's like a wild disappointment. I think 7 or 8 is kind of going to be their range of floor in next year's Eastern Conference with the depth they figure to have and just a more cohesive team that's, playing together, which really we've not seen this team play together like at all. Like even dating back to last season where there was like a fun month in February before Scotty and Pirtle got hurt and everything went all tanky. And yeah, it's just, there's enough here, youthful steps forward, which we'll talk about in a mailbag question coming up later too, that you can kind of hope for and bake into the expectation that, yeah, like this is why they don't need to go trade for Kevin Durant right now. It's like that they are on the course. They've spent the last 18 months kind of righting the wrongs of the previous couple years. And it seems like now they're just in a position to start the earnest kind of climb up the standings. There's no need to throw that off with some other sort of sidetrack, side quest adventure by getting Kevin Durant. We'll come back on the other side here, Katie. We got a lot of fun mailbag questions we're going to rattle through, including Desert Island Raptors. Yeah, we'll do that coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. And look, I love going to baseball games. Hell, I went to a baseball game with my pal Katie last week, and we had a blast. We watched home runs, a lot of them. The Phillies hit like 5 of them in the game, right in front of where we were sitting with the tickets we bought with a great zone deal on Game Time. I love Game Time. I use it for anything I go to. I went to an MJ Lenderman concert last week. Guess what? Last month, that is. Guess what? Bought the tickets on Game Time. Whenever I go to baseball games, whether in Toronto or abroad, I'm doing it via Game Time. WNBA games, it's all there. And of course, concerts, theater shows, comedy, all of it's available for you to go peruse. And those zone deals, man, they're great. I just said, hey, I want to sit in the outfield with my pal Katie. And they had all these great deals for the seats out in those seats in the outfield. And I got them with Game Time. I could see what the sight lines were going to be. And I knew it was backed by the Game Time guarantee, where all tickets are 100% authentic and will arrive on time. Plus, they always have the best price. So what you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Down the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Back at it here with Katie Heindl. Really just can't get over your New York Knicks impression from the last segment, Katie. You're going to be thinking about that one all day long. Let's get to this question here from Jeff
really
Exelon.
Sounds like that.
He does really sound like that. If you listen to JD in the Straight Shot, that's just what the vocals are like. He should have known. Gross. Jeff Exelon asks, which 3 Raptors, current or all-time, are you taking with you? He messed up this question. Jeff, what have you done? You made me look like a fool on live, not live podcast. Which 3 Raptors are you taking to a desert island to hang out with, Katie?
Marcus Hall.
Marcus Hall.
I don't need anyone else.
Yeah.
I would take, Marcus Hall, Serge.
Mm-hmm.
Can Serge cook? I feel like Mark is probably a better chef than Serge to wrestle up.
Serge did have a cooking show.
Yeah, but it was not good. He was never cooking well.
Yeah, but he's cooking up weird stuff. You're going to have to cook up weird stuff on an island. He'll figure out how to make a conch delicious or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go Kyle just because I feel like he would get quite frustrated with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So I would maybe pick Amir Johnson because I think he'd just be more like... I even question Serge because I'm trying to think of like personalities that would clash over time, and maybe grate on people. And I don't want that, but I also want people with good hard and soft social skills. Hard, like life survival skills.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all these people could really lash some things together to make a raft and forage and perhaps hunt and
Yep,
fish.
yep.
This is really my kind of question.
There's a reason I saved this one for today, Katie.
Yeah, I think I need someone younger too, because I'm kind of aging. Need someone,
fair enough.
like
Yeah.
you answer and I'll think of like the younger person I'm gonna pick.
Sure, yeah. I'm trying to think of like just burly dudes in Raptors history, right? Like guys who could just like build a shelter, haul some logs to build a nice sturdy alone level shelter for us all to huddle in. And so, Rasho Nesterovic comes to mind. That was a very large dude. Jonas Valanciunas. Come on.
True. That's a good one.
He's building the shelter. He's lifting the stuff. He probably has some hunting experience. I don't know. He just seems like the kind of guy who has like off-season hunting in his repertoire.
Yeah,
Jonas
Eastern Euro
Valanciunas
dudes, you're always like, you've spent time out in the bush.
You've encountered a bear in the wild at some point.
You can preserve things too. Yeah.
Really good at the pickling. You're right. Did you think of your youngish Raptor to come?
No, all I could think of was like Jose Calderon, which is not answering the young question, but it's like a good vibe. Like
he's really also going to be if you watch Alone, which is one of the better television shows there is. The real thing, like if you get big game, the most important thing is you got to smoke that meat immediately. I feel like the guy who owns the ham factory farm thing is going to be all right to smoke yourself some big game if you do get yourself maybe like a shark or something like that in the coastal waters, or you procure yourself some kind. I don't know, I'm guessing this island doesn't have large mammals to go and get, but
who knows?
Maybe you get yourself a manta ray from the sea.
This is when you got to be more specific about your questions.
Yeah.
I guess they said desert island. So.
Yeah, and maybe spell it right next time, Jeff, so I don't look like a fool when I read it. No, great question. Love you, Jeff. Similar Katie asked question coming up here. This one's from Eric Morris asking, just considering peak vibes for next year, what's your ideal roster move and draft pick the Raptors could make this offseason? Katie, roster move that would enhance the vibes from where they are to where they could be.
Well, Eric, I'm so glad you asked. As you can see in my Chiron, a trade for TJ McConnell would be ideal for vibes this offseason. Is his contract up? It might be.
No, he's signed for like
next year.
4 years.
Oh, did he extend?
Like a fresh new contract for a long time.
Okay.
Good for TJ McConnell. I think he's going to be like 38 when his deal is up.
Good for him. But stranger things have happened, so that's going to be up there. The draft pick, I have to admit, I haven't dived into Sam Vecini's psychotic, love you, Sam, but 160,000 word draft report. I'm going to, because I do feel like excited about this draft. So Sean, you may have some better suggestions there. I will say where the Raptors are picking, this is like some real homerism, and I hope it's not like a what's the word? Like an insecure mentality thing, but I am much more comfortable with them picking in the range that they have this year. Yeah. Top 5, you can get a little gun shy. Yeah.
A lot of pressure in the top 5. If you're at 9, you just and look, there's some not so smart teams picking ahead of them. The Hornets, the Jazz, the Wizards, the Pelicans, and the Nets are the 5 teams in front. There's a real chance that a really good player is just going to be there for the Raptors to take at 9 because those teams screwed up. I'm with you there. As far as like vibes, this is a good question. I don't know these guys on a personal level. It's just really watching like tape and seeing what they do in terms of like basketball skills stuff. But among the guys near the top, it does seem like Ace Bailey has some pretty good vibes about him. I know he's like,
gonna say Ace, yeah.
He has a lot of like gunner mentality quotes that come out, but he also seems like pretty light and fun. And maybe they could use some of that kind of swag energy to the team. I don't know. I just sounded extremely old when I said that. As far as offseason additions, TJ McConnell's a great one. Al Horford is like the backup big man. He's going to be a free agent most likely. That'd be kind of fun.
It was like the Al Renaissance, honestly.
Yeah.
In most Celtics playoff games. So, yeah.
Yeah. The other one too is like the standing answer, which is you just bring Kyle Lowry back to be the 15th man, and that would be delightful. Sorry, Garrett Temple, we love you, but if there can only be one aged vet on the team, give me Kyle, please. That would be damn cool, even if maybe he's just going back to Philly to ride out the last year of his career if he's going to play at all. We're going to come back on the other side, Katie. We're going to rattle through a couple more of the wonderful mailbag questions that people sent in, and there's a couple really stupid ones. We'll get to those, close things out in just a sec. Today's show is brought to you by friends over at Wayfair. There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to a personal oasis. We've got our backyard set up really nicely right now. We've got some nice string lights. We've got a little couch. We got the barbecue. It's all there, and you can go and set up your outdoor space for the summer with Wayfair. They've got everything you might need, from outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard that resort feel without the resort price tag. We all love sitting outside, having a cocktail, playing the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever it might be, and Wayfair can help you set up the perfect environment for you to go and do that. And it's super easy. Like the delivery is free and easy and seamless, and totally hassle-free. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Wrapping it up here on your Mailbag Thursday edition of the show with Katie Heindl, sorting through some very Katie Heindl questions from you, the listeners. We do have two very stupid questions coming up that we'll close off on, Katie, but a quick one with some basketball content. How about this from Barney Bass asking, who are you betting on taking the biggest leap this season out of all the young players? Is it Grady, Jacoby, or someone else? Who you got, Katie? Biggest youthful leap from a Toronto Raptor on the way this year?
I like the Jacoby suggestion. I do. Not to say like Grady's gonna go backwards at all. But I want to give Grady like another year or so. And I just think it feels right now with the way that they're gonna construct the team. There's gonna be a lot of room for Jacoby.
I fully agree, especially if the rumors of RJ Barrett being shipped out at some point ever come to fruition. Like, I think probably Ochai Agbaji gets the starting job first, but I'm on record. Like, if I'm making a bold prediction right now for next season, I think Jacoby Walter's starting for the Raptors by the end of next year. I just think he's got it. I think he just gets it. He got better as the season went along. He can play off the ball. He can do a little with the ball in his hands. The shooting was really good after his first 10 games or so as he was getting acclimated to the NBA. And I think, like, I took a lot from the way the team talked about him, especially Darko Rajakovic at the end of the season. Like, I think they really believe in him, which is kind of half the battle when you're trying to nudge your way in. And I genuinely think like they envisioned big things for Jacoby Walter. And I think there was enough stuff in this season. Yeah, it was uneven at times, as it's going to be for any rookie coming in, that suggested like this guy can be a contributor to winning basketball and play like a two-way game that every team is looking for from its guards. And I'm big on the Jacoby train going into the season for sure. And again, I think Grady's going to be good. I think the leap Grady took at the start of last year gets slept on because he gassed himself carrying the team on his shoulders for 2 months. And then kind of, it was a quiet whimper to the end of the year. He got hurt, etc. But even with that, I think Jacoby Walter just kind of projects as a more complete two-way player than Grady Dick. And so I'll say him. Big things in store, I think, for Jacoby Walter with this team. All right, we got two stupid questions to close it out, both from the same guy, Duncan. By the way, go check out our pal Duncan at the Queen and Beaver. He's the head chef there. The food looks delicious. If you're in the Locked On Raptors Discord, he sends new menu items all the time. Go to the Queen and Beaver. Duncan asks, with the pizza party era hopefully over, what food-related incentives do you think the team has to make the playoffs? Does Darko take the team to Samarco for $80 pastas and $500 Rob Royce? Where do you think they will be going for a celebratory meal if they make the playoffs next year, Katie? What is the incentive here?
This is a good one. Because like I'm always like, you guys can go somewhere better than Cactus Club, but that's what they love.
Yeah, they love Cactus Club.
I know. It's like the city has so many restaurants, and that I'm even in an era of like my faves are now dated. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
every time there's something new, I feel like a bumpkin because I'm like, what is this? I will say, why not hop on the cool Panino train and take
Mhm.
these guys to Tudo Panino, which I'll also shout out, run by a cool crew, also run by Grammy-nominated musician Charlotte Day Wilson. Has some
Wow.
great Italian-looking paninos, like sells out, seems like all the time, have tiramisu. It's a very comfortable area. They've got like a turntable in there. They're playing vinyl.
Cool.
And the prices, though they're good for it, are not through the roof. And it's a good grab and go. So they could sit, eat it on the patio, or they could just
Oh,
like take it
yeah.
to OVO with them because it's not actually that far from OVO.
Yeah. Take it to the park, right?
Yeah,
Just
take it to the
it's
park.
pretty close to Hyde Park, right? Just go
Yeah,
to the
dude.
park. Look at some
Or
trees. Take in Shakespeare in the park while you eat paninos. Hell yeah.
take them if we're gonna go like more on like the pizza party end of the spectrum in terms of
Mhm.
childish. Take them to Dutch Dreams, where I went recently for the first time in a little while and didn't realize you couldn't get an ice cream that didn't look psychotic. Everything has like,
Wow.
it's beautiful. I love Dutch Dreams. This is a West End institution. However, it's like everything is topped with like whipped cream, cotton candy,
Yeah.
cherry.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I just want a scoop of ice cream,
Mhm.
they do it
Oh,
up
this looks like a
crazy.
lot. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, it
I'm
is a
more of a
lot. It is a
keep it
lot,
simple
but
guy,
it's like
that
very
looks
fun. And I
inviting.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of the Raptors social team. I feel like they could get some great content out of it. And I think it
Mhm.
would just like, I legit think, considering the team is made up of a lot of younger men, I think
Yeah.
they would enjoy it.
Great answer. Of course, I'm going to recommend they hop on the GO train and come to one of Hamilton's fine establishments. Look, burgeoning restaurant scene out here. Rent's too expensive in Toronto. All the chefs are coming here. You've got Cowabunga Plus Pizzeria, literally named best cheese pizza in the world. I live right around the corner from it. They can come hang out with me in my
Who
backyard
named
with
them
some
that?
pizza.
Who named them
At the
that?
Vegas at a convention in Vegas, they won best cheese
Okay.
pizza in the world. Yes, we're giving Cowabunga Plus some free pub here. Of course, there's My Pie, which is a tiki bar slash Detroit style pizzeria. Highly rated. Apparently, we're only serving up pizza again. The pizza party era will never end. It's just higher grade pizza. But there's rapscallion if you want to have some interesting game meats and frog's legs and things like that. There's of course the Plank Resto Bar with a beautiful rooftop patio. Come to Hamilton, eat here. I'm not paid by the city of Hamilton, but I should be. Last question here from Duncan, also stupid. If you were to combine the best traits of Darko and Nick Nurse, would you have A, Darko Nurse, B, Nick Rajakovic, C, Nico Rajaverse, or D, Dick Nursevich? Who you got?
So this is just a name, not traits.
Yeah. What's the best sounding name of the two, of all of them, I suppose? I'm not really sure what the question's about, but it's a dumb question to leave things off on a fun note.
Darko
Dick
Nurse.
Nursevich kind of sounds the Dicko Nursevich, maybe a fifth
I'm gonna
option
go.
here.
That's a bad one. I'm gonna go
Yes.
Darko Nurse. Vaguely medical.
Boring. Yeah, no. A fair, totally fine answer. And with that, you have a hard out. We are going to leave it there. Katie, thank you so much for jumping on the pod. This was fun. As always, it'll be the last time we chat for a little while because I'll be, off cleaning diapers and stuff very soon. But thank you as always for being here. Anything you want to promote for the good people out there?
Just keep listening to us because I'll be back with Vivek on Monday.
Hell yeah. Hey, we love that. Also, go to the basketball Toronto basketball exhibit at the Museum of Toronto.
Oh yeah,
It rules. Yeah,
big party tomorrow night. The exhibition is open and has been open for a few weeks now. It's down at Harborfront, but there's a big block party tomorrow night starting at 6:30. The Raptors are involved, is all I'll say. There's going to be a DJ. We're going to have indoor-outdoor components, and you get to come and see the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you can't come tomorrow night, then the exhibition is running all summer long, and we're going to have some panels and talks with a lot of your faves. So keep an eye out for those at the Museum of Toronto's website.
100%. I'm sad I can't be there tomorrow for the party. It sounds like it's going to be a blast. It will be baby's first museum, though. I can promise you that. Once he's like immunized and stuff. But
Yeah.
we will leave it there. Thank you so much, Katie, and thank you, the listeners, for sending in some great dumb questions. This was a fun. We'll be back again tomorrow, talk some draft stuff to close out the week, and send you off into the big V era of the podcast for the next 6 weeks or so. And until then, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging. Bye-bye. I have to hit this, Katie. Nope.